Atomic Monsoon.
Welcome to the Monsoon.
I think we're recording. Welcome to the new episode of Atomic Monsoon, everybody.
Hello. Wait, why are you sitting in Josh's chair? Why aren't you over there? I'm so confused.
Well, Josh is out sick, and my chair's in the corner. It's dark and scary over there. So
There are monsters over there. I see the eyes.
Well, there was that moth that one time.
Hey, that moth was evil.
That's why I took it away.
Exactly.
And it's gone.
Exactly. But yes, feel better, Josh. We'll see you next week.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. So.
Hey, so I don't know if you're aware of this, Stephanie.
What?
But there was a big movie release this weekend.
SpongeBob SquarePants 3?
No.
Nah,
Bigger.
Would it have to do anything with Marvel?
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Avengers Endgame, chapter 22 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe story. That comes out today, and it's Friday when we're recording. And last night, it already had the biggest Thursday opening ever in history.
Indeed.
It's $60 million+.
Mm-hmm.
So
I saw it. It was amazing.
Don't tell me anything. I haven't seen it yet. I'm seeing it tomorrow.
That's all I said. It's amazing.
Okay. All right.
But I do have some news before we get into the thing we're going to do today.
Yeah, because we were just going to talk about all of the other Marvel movies and give some thoughts and opinions on them, I guess. And yeah, just kind of see how we feel about the other 20-something chapters.
Exactly. But I thought I would go backwards in time. So last week we weren't able to do an episode because I was in Ireland, which that was a lot of fun, by the way.
Oh, good.
I'm actually wearing my Skellig Michael shirt today. But Star Wars Celebration was 2 weekends ago.
Yes.
And they announced a lot of different things, including the teaser and title for Episode 9, which is now Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
They have released news that there's going to be a second season of Star Wars Resistance.
Okay.
They have released the official trailer for Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 6, as they're labeling it.
I'm sorry. Would it be safe to say that they just couldn't resist a second season?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, no.
So season 7 of Clone Wars.
So, in my eyes, it's season 7 because I actually count the Lost Mission Netflix 13 episode season as season 6.
I mean, that is the 6th season of that show to come out, right?
Exactly, yes. But they are apparently officially labeling this one as season 6. So there's a random 5.5 season now, I guess.
Okay.
So either way, they released that trailer. It was amazing. They've also released news and photos from The Mandalorian.
Oh, okay.
TV series?
The new show with the Boba Fett guy, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it looks really good.
Okay.
They also released the official trailers for both Jedi Fallen Order and Vader Immortal, the two new Star Wars video games. One is VR, the other is just a typical video game.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
There was all that stuff, and it was quite a busy weekend because the funny story, we actually landed in Chicago on our flight to Ireland because, layovers and stuff.
Right.
And they
Also, flying right from Phoenix directly to the UK is way too long of a flight.
Indeed.
Yeah.
When we landed, they had the trailer officially for Episode 9, so it was fun sitting in the very back of the plane waiting for everyone to get off and going, oh my God.
You know what was funny is you actually texted Josh and I, and you were like, oh my God, they released the Episode 9 trailer. And I was like, oh, I guess I should probably watch that. So I hadn't seen it until you told me that it was up. But because you did, I watched it. And I was like, yeah, all right. You know what? We're this far in. Yeah, let's go see that movie in December. But we're not here to talk about Star Wars movies today.
What are we here to talk about today?
Other movies put out by Disney. Specifically, the Marvel ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say Disney movies?
Yeah. You've seen a few of those.
It closes door to my vault.
Yeah. Yeah. So, hey, let's travel all the way back to the year 2008.
What were you doing in 2008?
In 2008, I was about to open, let's see, it was May, so I was getting ready to open my comic book store.
May 2008?
Yeah.
Do you really want to know what I was doing?
Were you in school? Were you in junior high?
Ending my 7th grade year.
Nice. Okay.
So.
Okay.
There's
so
that.
So I was already a little invested in all of these before they started happening. As you know, I was about to open a comic book store, and I started reading comics in 1992.
Wow.
So I have literally been reading comics longer than you've been alive.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah. Which, I mean, whatever. That's just how timing works out.
Exactly.
So my buddy and I were like, oh, they're making an Iron Man movie. Cool. It was Friday. We were both out of work. We didn't have anything to do. We were like, yeah, let's go grab dinner and watch Iron Man. And so we did.
And so you did.
And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, the first Iron Man, like, I remember maybe there'd been my dad or my brother, but one of them was interested in going to see it, and then we just went to go see it, and I remember sitting there and actually, like, surprisingly really enjoying it.
Yeah.
More so, because, I mean, I've always been more of a DC fan with a lot of different things.
Sure.
And just seeing Iron Man was like, I knew it was Marvel, I knew of Iron Man, but it was interesting to watch it and go, oh, this is actually pretty good. But I hadn't completely, like, washed in what it was until years later when I rewatched it, but it is the one to kind of start it all with the MCU, and it is really good.
Yeah. I would say that it holds up better than some of the other movies we're going to talk about.
Oh, it's so true.
And it holds up better than most of the Marvel movies that came out prior to that, kind of between Blade in 97 and Iron Man. Like, Iron Man's kind of one of the better ones of that.
My husband still believes that it's probably the best MCU film.
Oh, interesting.
And there's 22 of them.
And
he cosplays a character from 2 of them that aren't even in Iron Man.
So the next one came out literally a month later. And
I remember that.
It was The Incredible Hulk. I actually won tickets to go see. I won 2 passes to go see an early screening of The Incredible Hulk. And I went with a different friend who ended up becoming one of my roommates. And I wore a Hulk shirt, and he wore a Super Mario 1-Up shirt. We both happened to wear green. I didn't even plan to wear the Hulk shirt to see the Hulk. It just kind of happened that way. But yeah, we went and saw it and enjoyed it. I don't know that this movie holds up super great.
It sits low on a lot of people's lists and everything. And to be fair, you know, I again, it was probably another one of those instances where brother or dad wanted to go see it more than I did.
Right.
And then we went and watched it, and it was. I mean, I thought it was good, but at the same time, I also wasn't completely interested in the guy becoming the big green monstrosity that he was.
Right.
I think I liked Mark Ruffalo's interpretation and version of the Hulk a little bit better.
Well, and I think that's part of the other issue with that movie is I think that because Edward Norton, when they got to being about to, they were getting ready to film Avengers, and Edward Norton started asking for more money, and they were like, yeah, nope, sorry, you're not the most important piece in this puzzle, dude. And he walked. Mark Ruffalo, like Edward Norton being Bruce Banner in the Hulk kind of means like, cool, this movie, it doesn't feel as connected as the other ones do.
Yeah.
And I think that definitely hurts its reputation. I will say that the Incredible Hulk movie from 2008 is much better than the Hulk movie from 2003 that was directed by Ang Lee.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of Eric Bana before that movie. I am not a fan of him after that movie. Him playing Bruce Banner doesn't work for me. So,
and Edward Norton did a good job playing the Hulk.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, he did a great job of playing him. It was just, I think, I don't know, it just didn't reach me as much as I thought it would.
Yeah, and
so
Hulk is a tricky character. If you're not angry, you're not going to relate to that character.
And my secret cap is I'm always angry.
Well, see, and I very rarely am anymore.
Well, that's just the line he says in Avengers. So.
Yes. So we had to jump forward 2 years to Iron Man 2.
Wow, it was a 2-year gap?
Yeah, so nothing came out in 2009, and Iron Man 2 came out in May of 2010.
Okay.
How do you feel about Iron Man 2?
I liked Iron Man 2. So again, another one of those instances of, I think, somebody I know wanted to go see it more than I did.
Right.
And I was at least...
I'm noticing a bit of a pattern early on here.
So early on, there was a pattern.
Yes.
Early on, there was a pattern. Later on, you'll start noticing the pattern disappear.
Sure.
There's a new pattern that builds later on.
Yeah.
But early on, at least with the first 3 films, the very first 3 films, there's a pattern. After that, it changes.
Okay.
But no, it was, again, somebody I know wanted to go see it. I went to go see it with them, and I really enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed... Scarlett Johansson in the movie.
Oh, that's right.
I loved, it just, it made me forget that the Incredible Hulk one existed for a minute.
Sure, yeah.
And it was very much like very refreshing to see. Okay, after Tony Stark's like, I'm Iron Man in movie. It's like very nice to see. Oh, okay, so
Yeah, what does that mean? Where does this go?
Exactly.
And we actually get to see where that goes and what it means and the consequences of him revealing his identity to the public, right?
and how very different that is from a DC thing that would be done. Like DC, it's like
Right.
you reveal your identity to the public. It's like shun.
yeah. But a lot of people embrace Tony Stark in that movie. So.
And this is, I think, the movie where we all realize. I mean, we realized it in the first one, but I think it was even more prevalent in the second one that Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Yeah. When they cast him, I was like, wait, they cast the recovering drug addict as the recovering alcoholic?
And
Really?
it worked.
Huh. Yeah, it's almost like they cast that really well on purpose. It's worked pretty well.
And now look at him. He's sitting about his.
He's doing pretty well for himself.
He's
there.
doing really well for himself.
So a couple things about Iron Man 2 I want to touch on real quick.
Okay.
It had really unfortunate timing because 2 weeks earlier, a little movie called Kick-Ass came out.
That was then. Okay.
Yeah, that was just 2 weeks earlier. And so Scarlett Johansson as the Black Widow had that great scene where she's in the hallway and she takes out all the dudes, right, using all the jujitsu and the flips and the
Loved it.
stuff. Unfortunately, 2 weeks earlier, Hit Girl had a better hallway scene.
Oh no!
In Kick-Ass. So where she's doing a lot of the same stuff, but also doing a lot of the gun fu kind of stuff.
Okay.
Right? So I had gone and seen Kick-Ass a couple of times already, and then I saw Iron Man 2, and I was like, man, this scene would have been great if the other movie had come out 2 weeks after.
Yeah, later.
You
Yeah.
know, instead of 2 weeks before. The other thing about Iron Man 2 that's interesting is that movie works a lot better now.
Yes.
Because there is so much about that movie that is set up for the first Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Not Captain America, the first Avenger, but the first.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
I'm clarifying for the audience.
Yeah, fair enough.
But there's a lot of things that, and I remember talking to one of my friends, and he was like, "Man, like half that movie is all like stuff that it doesn't go anywhere." And I was like, "Oh, it's going somewhere." Like I saw it was all going to be explained in Avengers.
Wasn't this also the first one where Domhnall Gleeson was not Domhnall Gleeson? Wow, the actor who plays Rhodey in the later. Isn't this
Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. Isn't this the one where he's now War Machine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Terrence Howard was in the first one.
Yes.
And again, there was a money dispute between the first and second movie, and so they recast it with Don Cheadle, who, quite frankly, is a better actor anyways.
I mean,
or at least for action movies.
It's true, and he's still a part of the franchise all the way up until the most recent film because we see him in the trailer.
Yeah. Yep. It's funny. Had Terrence Howard been a little more patient and seen the bigger picture, he would have been getting all this money.
I mean, it's the same with a lot of actors.
Yeah.
A lot of actors who are like, "Oh no, I'm not going to be a part of this." There's this horrible film, and then suddenly sits and watches as it flourishes, and like, damn.
Yeah. Well, and in fairness, though, right? Like, it's easy to sit back and look at all of that now.
Yes.
Right. But you look at it at the time, in 2008, 2009,
and it made
2010.
Sense.
There weren't a lot of sequels to superhero movies, right? At that point, we only had the 2 X-Men movies,
and it was the Dark Knight series was around that time as well.
Yeah. Yes, but we didn't have the third one yet.
No, we only had Dark Knight, the first one.
So there were 4 Superman movies, 4 90s Batman movies, including 89 as one of the 90s movies.
Yeah.
And then like 2 Blade movies. I think the third one came out in 2005.
The 2 Fantastic Four films.
The 2 Fantastic Four films. I'm not even sure the second one had come out yet.
No, it was out by that point.
Okay. I think we had just gotten the third Spider-Man, right? So like, okay, it's Iron Man 2. We don't know how big this is going to be,
Yeah.
At some point, I had heard rumblings that they're going to do an Iron Man, a Hulk, a Cap, an Ant-Man, and a Thor, and then do an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, that's cool if it happens, but I don't know. That's a lot of that's 5 movies to lead into one.
Yeah.
Right. And I said that before the first Iron Man movie had come out. So yeah, looking back on it all now, it's like, well, I'll eat those words. I was wrong.
Yep.
But you look at the actors; they're just looking for the next gig. They don't know when they're going to get hired next. They don't, right? So they're all trying to take care of themselves.
You never know sometimes.
So yeah.
So but no, Iron Man 2. I think it's very good, and it stands very well as a sequel.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I would agree.
So
Thor.
All right.
How do you? So Thor was 2011.
Yes, that's
because
correct.
they did the 2 in 2011. How do you
How do I feel about the first Thor?
how do you feel about Thor?
So I actually did not see this one in theaters.
Oh, really?
Somehow it's one of those things where just timing and I think everything, it just the trailer and the promotions for it just kind of escaped everything that I watched and I did.
Yeah.
That I didn't actually. I saw a couple things, but I hadn't really took it all in.
Sure.
And hadn't completely registered that it was existing.
Right.
So I never actually saw it in theaters, and I never saw it before the first Avengers movie.
Oh, interesting.
I saw it maybe around the time. I think I actually saw it in between in the middle of Phase 2.
Okay.
Like after a few of the movies in Phase 2 have already come out.
Okay.
And I finally sat down. I'm like, I should probably watch this, and I really liked it.
Good.
I really liked the first Thor movie, and I loved Natalie Portman's performance in there. Because prequel Star Wars fan over here. Hello.
Oh, sure. Right. Yeah.
So I was like, yay, more Natalie Portman. But at the same time, it was really funny. It was really kind of refreshing
Okay.
to kind of see a big battle sequence in a small town in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And not in New York or San Francisco or Chicago.
Or some other big city.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
like, it's just some random town in New Mexico. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed, Loki and everybody else. So
Yeah,
it just,
yeah.
it was really good. I liked it.
Yeah, Thor's interesting. So my mom's part of a lot of pagan community things.
Yeah.
And so I remember the trailers coming out and a lot of her Facebook friends saying things like, this doesn't look like Thor at all. Like, because they're all thinking about the Norse god, not
Yes.
about the Marvel character.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at it like, that looks exactly like the Marvel character. How did they do that? Because
Chris Hemsworth.
yeah, right? Who I had never heard of before this movie.
Which is weird. I think I heard of his brother because his brother was in a movie with Miley Cyrus around the
Okay.
same time that this was coming out.
Okay.
So I had heard of him. I've heard of Liam, but I had never heard
not-
of Chris.
Yeah.
And then when I put two and two together, I was like,
Oh, hey, wait a
"Ooh,
minute.
They're both good looking.
Yeah. I went and saw Thor, and it was okay. It's not my favorite of the movies, but there is a scene early on. It's after Thor and Odin have their first falling out in the
Yes.
dining room.
Yes.
And Thor has flipped the table and everything, and he's sitting
Yep.
on the steps. And Loki walks out, and he just kind of swings his leg around the post,
Yeah.
the pillar holding everything up. And like that moment, I was like, oh, Loki's the coolest thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. now.
Yes.
Like that guy, like
That
is
guy.
it Tom Hiddleston, right?
Yes.
Like I was like, that guy gets it. That guy is going to be perfect for the rest of this.
And he is.
And he
is.
has been pretty good.
He is.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so glad he's gonna get his own series on the Disney Plus.
I hope it's good.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was
I
just
hope it lives up to that leg swing.
it's going to live up to a lot more than just that leg swing.
It's open.
But yeah.
Yeah. Captain America, the First Avenger.
Now this one,
Yeah.
this is the one I wanted to go see.
Okay.
So this was the first of the Marvel films where I saw the trailer and I'm like, I want to go see that.
Okay.
I want to go see it.
Okay. Can I ask why? Was it
coup-
just the trailer looked super cool, or was there?
There were a few reasons behind it.
Okay.
The trailer looked super cool. Reason number 2 was Chris Evans. Reason number 3
Was also Chris Evans.
No. Reason.
Okay.
Reason number 3 was he reminded. So this is gonna sound really dumb, but he reminded me of the Captain America-esque character from the. So I don't know if did you ever watch Dexter's Laboratory?
Yes.
Do you remember the super friends that they had?
The Justice Friends, so Major Glory and the Infraggable Krunk and
Yes.
Val Hallen.
Yes,
right?
where it was supposed to be Cap, Thor,
Yes,
and the Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so he reminded me of him.
So Captain America reminded you of the Captain America knockoff?
Yes.
Perfect.
But also, Captain America was also one of those other few Marvel characters that I had heard of. It was literally maybe only Iron Man and Cap
Okay.
and the Hulk. That was it.
Well, Spider-Man.
In Spider-Man, yeah.
But yeah.
I hadn't put, Spidey into that mix
Got
a
it.
lot.
Okay.
Because I didn't completely realize, so is Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men.
Right.
It was just kind of like, of the OG, main Avengers,
Sure.
those were the 3 I kind of knew of.
Uh-huh.
Kind of. And
Sure.
it was because I think mainly of just different reasons.
Sure.
yeah, there was a lot of stuff in there, and I was like, okay, I want to go see this, and I loved it so much.
Yeah. So Captain America is actually my favorite Marvel superhero. I know I'm like I'm more vocal about Captain Marvel and a lot of the X-Men stuff, but like of all of the characters, Steve Rogers is actually my favorite of all of them. I relate to him the best. I feel there's a miniseries called Spider-Man and the Infinity Gauntlet, and it was a like 2010 or 2011 retelling of the Infinity Gauntlet story, which inspires Infinity War. And Spidey has a line. No, I'm sorry. It was Spidey and the Secret Wars. Spider-Man and the Secret Wars. It's a retelling of the 1986 Secret Wars. And there's a line in that where Spider-Man, the whole thing's told from Spider-Man's point of view. It's retold for kids, so it's easier, and it's 4 issues instead of 12. But there's a line where Spider-Man and Captain America are having a disagreement, and Spider-Man thinks to himself, the thing about Captain America is if you're disagreeing with him, you're probably wrong.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty correct.
Also, it was kind of refreshing to watch that movie and watch him go from the scrawny pipsqueak type character that gets picked on to, oh, now I have muscles. Now I'm, the big strong guy. And normally in films and TV, you see that character turn into the bully, turn into the thing. And it was nice to see that he was still this wholesome, sweet teddy bear.
Yeah.
That was just like, we fight Nazis and stuff according to what the script says on the back of my shield.
And so much like the scene in Thor where there was that one moment where Loki swung around where I was like, oh, he got Loki.
Yeah.
In this movie, the scene where he's in the boot camp, right? And Tommy Lee Jones Professor Erskine goes and throws the grenade.
Yeah.
Right? To prove like, no, Steve Rogers is the guy we want, not these other guys. And he jumps on the grenade.
Yes.
Right? And like, even though he knows it's the end for him, and he's probably not big enough to actually shield the blast from everybody.
Yeah.
It was like, no, but that's Captain America.
Yes.
That's the moment. That's it. That's who this character is.
Also, it's so interesting to go back and watch the behind the scenes of that film to see like him being really buff and jacked, like, doing all those scenes, and then them going in with like the CGI and all that and making him skinny and like, scrawny. I'm like, damn, they did a really good job. Also, I will definitely agree with Peggy Carter when he comes out of that machine and she's just like, I want to touch, but I won't. Because every girl was probably like,
Also, we got Peggy Carter in that movie.
Yeah.
Right? And Haley Atwell nailed that performance,
she
too.
definitely did that. I mean, she got her own TV series after that.
She did, yeah. So here we go, 2012.
2012, here we go.
Avengers Assemble.
Avengers Assemble.
Or just Marvel's The Avengers over here. Avengers Assemble internationally.
Ah, okay.
Because there was the 60s TV show in Britain, The Avengers, with John Steed and Emma Peel, and the other sidekicks that, were not Emma Peel. And so internationally, to avoid confusion and international trademark laws and stuff, they called it Avengers Assemble in Europe.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So what do you get for this one for you? Like, what were you doing?
So
like,
this was it, right? This was the culmination. This is the first movie I ever saw in theaters 4 times.
Oh, wow.
And 2 of them were opening night.
Wow.
I literally could not believe the scene where Cap and Iron Man and Thor are fighting in the park.
Does mother knoweth you weareth her drapes?
Right. So again, I had been reading comics since 1992, right? So that's 20 years of this at this point. And the closest we could get to this were some crossover episodes of Spider-Man and the X-Men.
Yes.
In the cartoons, right? And like, I had read a ton of stuff. I had read Secret Wars. My comic store, unfortunately, because of the economic crash in 2008, like we opened and closed 2.5 years later. But like I was in, man. Like I was 100% in, and like I could not believe we're actually seeing Captain America and Iron Man and Thor fight each other on the big screen.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and not because I couldn't believe we were seeing those characters. I was like, no, they're doing the Marvel misunderstanding, which is a trope where 2 heroes run into each other, think that the other one's a bad guy, fight each other, and then realize, oh no, we should all be friends. Let's go fight the actual bad guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And we got that. And it blew my mind. The movie was over. And I remember just like I threw my arms up in the air because I could not believe that they had done it. And I spilled popcorn on the 2 people surrounding me. And the movie was so good that like I was sitting in the backseat of my buddy's car on the way home, and I just like sat there like kind of rocking back and forth. Like, I don't need to read Marvel comics anymore.
Yeah.
Because anything that they're going to do in the comics, they're going to do as well, if not better and more streamlined in the movies.
Yeah.
And then there were like 8 of us that went to go see that first showing.
Yeah.
And one of my friends and I were like, dude, that was really good. Do you want to go see it again? And so we went to Scottsdale Fashion Square first, and then we drove to Shea 14 to catch another showing like 15 minutes later.
That's excellent.
And yeah, like, and that was when I was like, okay, this is for real. Like, I know we had just talked about 5 other movies, and we were getting hyped and cool.
Yeah.
But once that movie hit, it was like, this is it, right? This changes the world.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Like, so for me, this movie came out right around the time of my brother's birthday, so I took him and, like, one of his friends to go see it and everything. So, we went to the theater, we sat, we watched it. The two of them were, like, elementary school kids. And they're sitting there like, oh, this is so cool, because,
Right, because they're kids and they're watching superheroes and stuff.
I laughed so hard in that film, but at the same time I cried, and I was like, there was just, like, at this point I hadn't, because I hadn't seen Thor, there were some characters I was like, wait, who's this random person? I'm not completely understanding this guy.
Right.
And so there was a lot of confusion that I was having, but going back and watching it now with everything that's there, I sit there and I'm just like, God damn, man, this movie's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some of a lot of people I talk to, no matter how many films have come out since then, they will all say the first Avengers is one of their favorites.
Yeah, actually, I did put out a call on Facebook to ask people what their favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie was, because I knew we were going to be doing this week.
Yeah.
And we only got one response, but the one response we got was the first Avengers movie.
The first Avengers movie.
Or Avengers Assemble.
Yeah. And honestly, it's just, even I have to agree, because I sat there and I watched it, and my little itty bitty knowledge of Marvel films, and even superhero films, this was the one where I sat in there and I realized, and not realized, but I had like almost like a comic book nerd revelation of, this is the first time we were seeing all of these characters together on screen.
Yeah.
And this is a game changer.
Yeah.
And now look where we are, where we had a movie with how many in it?
30 something, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people.
And so what was also pretty cool is, I I read comics, I got a lot of friends that read comics.
Yeah.
But this was at the point where, we're all kind of in our 2012. So I would have been 29 at this point. I would have been turning 30 that year.
This is 2012?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so I would have been finishing my junior year.
Okay. Perfect. So for me, a lot of my friends were all getting married.
Yeah.
Right? Or they were all, kind of at that point where like they were engaged, or they were, kind of pre-engaged or whatever.
Yeah.
Or had been married for a little bit. And so me and the dudes would be talking about comics, and all the girls would be like, what? I don't, blah, blah, blah. Right? Mm-hmm. But everyone went and saw the first Avengers movie. And I remember all of the girls, all of the women being like, that movie was really good. And I was like, this is what I have been talking about. This is the thing that I have been saying, right? So what it came down to is, it wasn't that there was anything wrong with the stories in the comics.
No.
It was the delivery method.
Yes.
Right? People didn't want to sit down and read the books with the pictures. But the stories were still working. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, cool. So I'm glad this is working then.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no. So I think they did a really good job to end phase 1.
Yes.
I think they did a really good job to set up, because literally after that happened, because it was one of the highest grossing films for a while.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
Well,
I mean, it's still one of the highest grossing films ever.
Sure. Yeah.
But there's been a lot since then that have been like, nope.
Still in the top 25, I want to say.
Yeah, no, it's still up there.
Yeah.
But either way, though, like it very much kind of was the wake up call to everyone, not just Marvel fans, not just comic book fans, everyone saying, no, this is what you need to be paying attention to right now.
How many shared universes have movie studios tried making in the last 7 years because of this?
A lot.
Yeah, like right down to Universal being like, we're going to remake all the monster movies and call it a dark universe. And they made one, and it tanked.
Yep.
Quite frankly, I'm not sure that we would have gotten as many Star Wars movies in the last 5 years.
If it wasn't for Disney?
If not for Avengers being successful.
That too.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, George Lucas also said back in 2005, I'm done. And then,
there you go.
And then we got Clone Wars, and then we got everything else. So it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's move on to Phase 2 now.
So Phase 2 kicks off with Iron Man 3, the PTSD movie.
Yep.
Right? Because that entire movie is just Tony Stark dealing with the problems that he saw in Avengers, right?
Yeah.
Where he almost died, sacrificed himself to save the world.
Yeah, totally.
So.
Yeah, no, I like that. By this point, I was now interested in seeing some of the other Marvel films.
Sure.
And I liked the other 2 Iron Man movies, and I liked Avengers to this point where I'm like, I want to go see this one. Mm-hmm. And I was confused on a couple things, but it was just the realization that they brought a very, deep in the underbelly type villain that you probably have never heard of.
The Mandarin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. See, so...
I say that because,
Right.
Yeah.
You're looking at it from totally outside.
Yes.
Whereas with me, the Mandarin is like the Iron Man villain.
Yeah.
Right? So, but... who does Iron Man... Like, if you ask the average person, who's Iron Man's arch nemesis? Like, before the movies, they wouldn't have known. Mm-hmm. Probably some other metal guy? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like, I know the Mandarin is the Iron Man villain. And I really liked the twist that they...
Oh, yeah, I liked it, too.
There's a lot of people didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like Shane Black's direction because he came in as a new director.
Oh, okay.
Because Jon Favreau had done the first 2, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau is very talented.
He is. And he plays Happy Hogan.
He does play Happy. I like him as Happy.
Yeah, and so getting a new director in there and a big swerve on a classic villain.
Yeah,
like I understand why people aren't into it. But
it's a little bit darker than the other 2.
It is, and it's a totally different tone with the PTSD angle instead of just look at how great I am all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm into it.
I liked it. Yeah, same.
Yeah. Thor: The Dark World.
Yes. So this is the first Thor movie I did see in theaters.
Okay.
Because I thought about it here as we kept going. I'm like, no, actually, I did see Thor: Dark World in theaters.
Okay.
I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I know a lot of people have like their mixed feelings about Dark World.
Yeah. A lot of people are decry it as the worst of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I mean, it's not, one of the best. I will agree there, but at the same time, it's also not a complete pile of poop either.
No, right. Well, and the thing that's funny is like, is it the best Marvel Cinematic Universe movie? No. But is it the worst? Is it the worst of those? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
Right? But is it the worst movie?
No.
As soon as you compare it
to any of the others.
Just to other superhero movies. It's better than most of the X-Men movies.
It is, and it's pretty good.
Better than a lot of the Batman movies.
Yeah. And Loki came back and did an amazing job. Like, I have to say, one of my favorite scenes in that film is when he and Thor are walking down the hallway, and he's changing into the different characters.
Yes.
Like, he changes into Cap, he changes into, because that was fantastic.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun.
Like, that part makes me laugh every time. And then... the return of Natalie Portman was very nice, but also, everybody else returning was also a lot of fun. And then because this was the first film that introduced, I would say this is the first movie that introduced an Infinity Stone, but technically Captain America the First Avenger was.
Right.
With the Tesseract.
Yeah.
But we didn't understand completely what the Tesseract means or needs were until I think the Avengers movie.
Well, you didn't, but...
Yes.
Yeah.
And it still wasn't completely clarified in the Avengers movie either.
Sure,
it was
right.
just
It's just this weird powerful thing.
It's a power cube. Mm-hmm. And in this one, it was like, no, there's these, magical stones, and then they brought in the reality stones. So,
right.
Or the reality slime, or whatever it is.
Yeah, the ether.
That.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm drinking water.
Yeah, Thor 2 is good. It's not great, but it's fine.
Yep, it's there.
It's, even... Going through this whole list, even the worst of these movies aren't that bad.
Oh, yeah, no, totally.
Captain America the Winter Soldier.
Yes.
This is probably still my favorite of the MCU movies.
Okay.
So
I really enjoyed this one, too, because this one, again, I wanted to go see it, but this was also one where even my dad wanted to go see it.
Nice.
And we went, and it was amazing, and... the twist, of course, you've read the comics, so you knew Bucky was coming back.
I sure did. Yeah.
I'm sitting over here like, yo, Bucky came back. And I think this is the movie that really hooked me to the rest of the MCU of, I should probably be paying attention more to these films and not just being like, oh, here's a bunch of superheroes with a lot of funny, witty lines. Like, no, I need to start paying attention.
Yeah.
And, especially because the shields being controlled by Hydra thing. And
yeah, that was a twist I didn't see coming. Also,
Yeah.
the introduction of the Falcon,
yes.
right? Who was probably one of the bigger joke characters leading
Oh,
before
poor
this
Sam.
movie. Well, it's a dude with wings.
It is.
Right? Like that's
Yeah.
look at the comics. It's like it's a guy with wings at the end. But in the movies, they made him pretty cool.
Yeah, no.
You know?
On your left.
Yeah, yeah. We gotta start going through these because we're gonna run out of time before we get through phase 2.
Oh, crud. Okay, we'll keep going.
Anyways, Winter Soldier is great.
Yep.
If you don't like it, you're bad at life.
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
So I will say right now, from this point forward, the next 3 films, Guardians, Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man,
Yeah.
I did not see in theaters.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wasn't completely interested in the Guardians because this is like they reached into their Marvel shelf of comics and pulled out literally probably the one superhero squad that I had never. Oops, sorry, I hit the mic. I never heard of.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't that interested in seeing it, but until I met my husband, where he was like, "Yeah, we should go see Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2."
Okay.
I was like, "Okay, I'll sit down and I'll watch it." Really loved it, and I love the music, and I just my husband cosplays Star-Lord, so I just love it so much.
Yep.
So
Yeah, Guardians was one that even though I have been reading comics forever, and I used to own a comic store. I remember the comics coming out, and I was like, I don't know who this Star-Lord guy is. Why is there a talking raccoon? Why is there a walking tree?
I am Groot.
I am just not into this at all.
Yeah.
Right. And then the movie came out, and I was like, well, all right, I guess I'm going to go see this because I know it's going to be important. And I knew who Ronan the Accuser was.
Yes.
So I was like, all right, well, I'll go see the movie for Ronan the Accuser, if nothing else.
Yeah.
He's a big classic Fantastic Four villain.
Yeah.
So I was like, cool, I guess we're going to go see this. And then it ended up being, and then Dave Bautista got cast as Drax.
Yeah.
And, I've been a big wrestling fan since forever.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I know Bautista's pretty good. Like,
Yeah.
he's got some pretty good comedic timing, and I know this movie's going to be funny or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, let's give this a shot.
And look what happened.
Listen, once I remember Andre Meadows of Black Nerd Comedy said, if Marvel can make Guardians of the Galaxy work, they're just printing money at this point.
Pretty much.
Right? Like, making these movies is literally just printing money. Mm-hmm. And, well, here we are.
Here we are. Still printing money.
Still printing money.
So, yeah, but that one's really good.
Yep.
All right, so Age of Ultron.
Language.
Yeah, yes. I was like, wait, I didn't curse.
No. Yeah, Age of Ultron is a little rough.
So the very first, to give you an idea on how long it took me to finally watch Age of Ultron, Spider-Man: Homecoming was coming out,
Oh, boy.
and I watched Age of Ultron in the car on the way to Disney
Okay.
on my laptop.
Okay.
And I could barely hear half the things that were going on, but when I
boy.
did watch it,
Yeah.
there were some things I was confused on. I was like, wait, where the hell did the Mind Stone come from? And why are these characters talking in a strange accent, especially Scarlet Witch? Because I had seen Civil War, and she doesn't talk in the accent in Civil War.
Yeah, that's a
And-
nice inconsistent feature of those movies.
Yeah, it was just a thing where they're like, yeah, we don't like it, get rid of it type thing.
Yeah.
And it was just, I watched it, I enjoyed it. I rewatched it later on. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And it made me, I think probably my favorite scene is probably one that everyone will agree upon is the scene with the hammer when they're all trying to lift
sure.
it and Cap nudges it a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
And then Thor's like,
Yeah.
duh, see, you failed. And
Yeah.
then
So in
Vision's like, hey.
in the comics, in the Marvel universe, Captain America is one of few people who actually has been able to lift Thor's hammer.
Really?
Yeah. So the fact that he only nudged it in the movies actually kind of bothers me. But at least they were like, okay, but of any of them, if he could, it's going to be Cap, right? And I was like, all right, that's cool. That's cool. I also liked the end where Steve and Tony are rationalizing, like, no, if you put the hammer in an elevator and it lifts it up, it's not the elevator lifting the hammer. So Vision's not alive. It doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Age of Ultron is okay. I kind of. It's probably like Iron Man 2, where there's a lot of setup for future stuff.
Yeah.
And it will probably age better after Endgame.
Oh, it definitely does.
Okay.
I will say that after seeing Endgame last night, it definitely does.
Okay. So, yeah. I know we were talking the other day at lunch, and I was saying that, like, I think after Endgame is on home video, Blu-ray, digital, whatever, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch all of them in order at home, rather than, so I don't have the time limit of, like, oh, I got to watch all of them in 2 weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so,
well, next is Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's fun. That's literally all I have to say about it. That movie is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it. It's
Paul
fun.
Rudd is always a win.
He is a delight.
I didn't see it in theaters. I actually didn't see this one. I went and watched it the night before I went to go see Ant-Man and the Wasp on opening night.
Okay.
Because I'm like, I haven't seen Ant-Man yet. I probably should go watch that.
Yeah.
And I learned that Paul Rudd is a delight. I learned that Luis should be telling every story I ever listened to ever now.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed it.
Excellent.
So,
Captain America Civil War.
yes. Okay, so interestingly enough, half of Phase 2 I saw in theaters and I enjoyed. Half of Phase 2 I didn't see in theaters and rewatched later.
Okay.
I have seen all of Phase 3 in theaters.
Okay.
Opening night.
So, Civil War came out while I was working at my second comic store job. And
Actually, starting with Homecoming was opening night, but
Okay.
either way, I saw all of them in theaters.
I've seen every one of these movies in theaters at least twice.
Okay.
So,
Same except for Captain Marvel and Endgame, but
okay.
Yeah.
I kind of wish Captain America Civil War wasn't called Civil War. Because I had to explain to 17 bajillion people
Okay.
that no, this movie is the spirit of the Civil War comic book crossover that came out 10 years earlier.
Yes.
But it is not a direct adaptation because they don't, at the time, Disney and Marvel did not have the rights to all of the Marvel characters because of
Yeah.
egregious things that we can get into later. I think the movie's great. I think I really love the introduction of Spider-Man to the MCU.
Yes. Tom Holland is perfect.
That whole scene with Tony in his bedroom and him going on about responsibility and all of that stuff, like, that's perfect. It's not an exact adaptation of Spider-Man, but it is the exact right spirit of Spider-Man.
And just, I think and then introducing Black Panther.
Yeah.
Not really introducing Scarlet Witch, but giving a better story for her.
Yep.
Doing more with Vision.
Yep.
Continuing on with the Hawkeye, Black Widow relationship.
We're still friends, right?
Yeah.
Getting to see Ant-Man grow large.
Yeah.
Right? And it was the first time we saw him as Giant Man. So.
And then, of course, continuing finally giving Bucky kind of like a reprieve of, you're no longer this monster.
Yep.
You are now a free man.
You are not the Winter Soldier anymore.
Yeah.
You are just Bucky Barnes. Yeah.
You're Bucky Barnes.
So Doctor Strange.
This one was trippy.
Doctor Strange is a fine movie. It is really hard for me to watch, which is a totally personal thing. My Doctor Strange was one of my dad's favorite comic heroes, and I was really excited to go see this movie with him in theaters. And he passed away a couple months before it came out.
Oh.
And so seeing the movie in theaters the first time, I did my best, but I had tears going down my face for about half the movie because I was just like, shit, Dad would have loved this movie. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, he never got the chance to see it. So the movie is great, but personally, it's really hard for me to watch.
Understandable.
So, yeah.
You know, I wanted to go see Doctor Strange because by this point I was hooked on seeing the MCU movies.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed Benedict Cumberbatch and his performance. I enjoyed kind of the introduction of the martial arts and kind of like the hand sign things.
And spreading it out more than just the American superheroes and stuff.
And kind of introducing the magical element a little bit more. And I think by this point they had introduced the final Infinity Stone, except for the Soul Stone.
Yeah. So, because that was the Time Stone is the Eye of Agamotto. So that's an interesting thing is that in the comics, the Cosmic Cube or the Tesseract, the Ether, and the Eye of Agamotto are not Infinity Stones.
Oh, really?
They're separate items.
Oh.
So for the movies, they kind of streamline. They're like, hey, here's this thing. We're going to make it one of the Infinity Stones.
Yeah.
And it's fine. Like, it makes it a little cleaner and everything
it
for
really
the movies,
does.
right? Rather than like, here's this magical item, here's these 6 magical items, here's this other mystical item, here's this space cube.
It's easier to say, here's the Infinity Stones and here's Doctor Strange magic cape.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, rather than like, oh, well, now I have to keep track of like 30 mystical items. Like, no, there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
They have different names. So, yeah. Also, we got to see Dormammu in a movie, and that's
We
a thing
did.
I never thought I would see.
Dormammu, I've come prepared to deal. 20 times later.
Yeah. If once we can get Shumagorath, and I'll explain to you who Shumagorath is off the air.
Okay.
Once we can get him in a movie, I'm done. Like, I literally don't need to see another Marvel movie after that, because they will have done everything.
Okay, there you
So,
go. So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is next.
Also a little rough, right? Because it's a movie dealing with relationships with your dad right after my dad died. So
This was the first one I saw in theaters with... well, actually, wait. Guardians came out what year?
2017, I want to say. So it was about a year after my dad died. But
Okay, so I saw
was-
Doctor Strange with my husband when we were first dating.
Okay.
Guardians was the first one I saw with him. I think because this was just before Con that year.
Yes.
And because he cosplays as Star-Lord, he
Right.
put a speaker in his bag and he walked around with both mixtapes playing.
Nice.
Even though he also had a working Walkman and he was listening to it there as well.
Nice.
It's like he's listening and they're listening type thing.
Yeah. Guardian. I might need to correct myself. I may have only seen Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 once in theaters.
Okay.
But again, because of
Yeah.
personal issues.
You know,
so.
I liked Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. I
Yes.
liked Kurt Russell being in there and
Yeah.
playing Ego. And
Ego, the living planet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I liked the continuation. I liked Gamora being a little more open.
And getting to develop Nebula a little bit better.
Yep. Introduction of Mantis. Oh, God, I love Mantis.
Mantis
She's so
is a lot
great.
of fun. And I love Mantis and Drax playing off each other.
Also, I'm Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh, that's right.
That's from
right.
that. That's from that movie.
That was in that movie.
So,
My only disappointment with Guardians Volume 2 is that we didn't get to see Ego the Living Planet as the living planet with the giant face and mustache.
oh, okay.
I will look up images of him and show those to you later. But yeah, guys, if you've never seen Ego the Living Planet in comics, literally do a Google search for Ego the Living Planet.
He's a flying
comics.
mustache.
He is a planet with a giant mustache. It's amazing.
That's
It
fantastic.
is like the craziest, like, what were you guys smoking design I've seen for Planet ever.
Yeah. So the next one is Spider-Man Homecoming.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Now, at this point, this is where friends of mine were like, hey, we're going to go start seeing these on opening night. You're
Yeah.
coming with us type thing. And this is probably one of my... I'm saying right now because we haven't seen Far From Home yet, but this is
Right.
probably one of my favorite Spider-Man films ever.
Yeah.
Because it's like, hey, you already know how this movie goes.
Right.
You already know like what happened to his uncle.
There's
Screw that. We're
no
going over here.
origin, no anything. Just like, here, we're just starting.
Yep.
It's Spider-Man. You know where he comes from.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I also love like, Uncle Tony kind of playing a major role.
Yeah. Yeah. I really like Homecoming.
Yeah.
I still think Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie.
Okay.
Best live-action Spider-Man movie.
Got it. Because there's End of the Spider-Verse.
Yep. And I'm going to need to watch that again to really kind of... But there is a part of me that kind of... There were some choices made for Homecoming to separate it from the other 2 live-action Spider-Man series. And I kind of wish some of those choices weren't made. But if I explain what they are, it's going to make me sound like a big asshole.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with all of the creative choices made in that movie.
Okay.
But the movie itself doesn't suffer for them.
Yeah, no.
It's totally comes down to personal taste and nitpicking.
Yeah. But
yeah.
Zendaya did a great job as MJ.
Yeah.
And I love that Aunt May is like more in her 20s.
She was 51 at the time this movie came out. Marissa Tomei was. So
Okay, so she's in her 50s.
but she's still rocking it.
Yeah, she looks
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like the thing of like, oh, you're in your 50s, but you look like you're ancient. It's
Right.
like, no, you're in your 50s, and you look like you should be in your 50s, if not younger, because of the magic of makeup and everything like that.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so we're really close to running out of time here. So let's just blast through. Thor Ragnarok is great and hilarious and the most Jack Kirby movie I've ever seen.
I love Thor Ragnarok so much. Every time I listen to Immigrant Song, all I can see is Mjolnir flying around with lightning shooting out of it.
I still kind of wish Immigrant Song played during
Infinity
War.
When he came. Yes, I know, me too.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
but yes, Thor Ragnarok is the best. Taika Waititi is amazing.
Yes.
And
yeah.
can't wait to see more of his work.
I also really loved the rock guy he plays, Korg.
Korg.
Right? When he throws the rock at the ghost of, or the
Begone, ghost.
Piss off, ghost. It's wonderful.
Yes, he's amazing.
Yeah.
Black Panther.
So if Captain America: The Winter Soldier is not my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, it is definitely Black Panther.
So Black Panther is the first superhero film ever to be nominated for the Best Picture.
That's true.
At the Oscars.
That is absolutely true.
It is so well deserved. Because I rewatched it before going to see Endgame, and
That's right, because you plowed through like a bunch of movies this week.
I only plowed through like 3 or 4 of them.
Okay, that's still quite a few.
Yeah, kind of like the more recent ones.
Okay.
But either way, loved Black Panther. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's funny, but it's also refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just it's very good. If you haven't seen it,
what's wrong with you?
that is, what's wrong with you? Wakanda Forever. Come on.
If you haven't seen it, yes, you did, because the movie made like $1.5 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, so Avengers. Speaking of Infinity War,
Hey.
that's next on the list.
Oh, hashtag still not over Infinity War. Which
Are you over it after Endgame, though?
I will say it will be easier now to go watch it.
Okay.
It'll be easier now to go
Okay.
watch it. I'll still cry.
Okay.
I'll still cry because acting, good acting is good acting.
Yes.
But it's easier to watch it now.
Yes. Okay. That's fair.
But
That's fair.
Yeah, Infinity War.
So, my roommate and I did a rewatch of all of the movies leading up to Infinity War.
Okay.
And that was a hell of a... Trying to fit 19 movies into 14 days was a hell of a trick.
Yeah, because it was the 20th film and it was the 10-year anniversary.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The Infinity Gauntlet, which the Infinity War movie is based on,
Yeah.
it is not based on the Infinity War comic. It's based on Infinity Gauntlet.
Yeah.
But Infinity War is a better name.
Yes, it is.
Is one of my favorite comic stories of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I have read it at least a dozen times. At one point, I owned it in single issues and trade paperback.
Mm-hmm.
I sold the single issues because money. But I have number 1 signed by George Perez, who is the artist for it.
Yes.
It's a beat up, rough copy that I've had forever. But anyways, yeah, one of my favorite stories ever. I looked at that comic and I was like, okay, so the correct point to end this is when Thanos kills half the universe.
Yes.
That's the correct point to
Yes.
end this movie, because we already knew there was going to be a part 2. But they're not going to do that.
And they did.
And they did. And boy, did they.
Yeah, no, there's a reason why I say hashtag still not over it, because, Groot disappearing and Spidey disappearing and
Mr.
all
Stark,
of it.
I don't feel so good. I'm sorry.
Cries.
Yeah. Super
It's
brutal.
And the thing is, though, they did such a great job with they had a lot of actors and a lot of different characters that they had to blend together, and they did a great job with it.
And they introduced all of Thanos' family.
They did.
Right? The whole Black Order.
Yep.
Like, here's 4 new characters, plus their weird, like, Stormtrooper characters.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So.
Also, I still want my no shit Sherlock line.
Yeah.
I wish that happened in that movie.
That's fair.
I'm not going to say that happened in Endgame, but I wanted it to happen in that movie particularly.
Just don't call them plucky, because they don't know what it means.
And also, Footloose isn't the greatest movie.
It never was.
Never was.
So last note on Infinity War is that no movie has made me feel kind of as I don't know what to do now as the first Avengers did, right?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting it. But the post-credit scene in Infinity War, where Hill and Fury disappear, and then you see the pager
With Captain Marvel's symbol on it.
I didn't throw my popcorn all over people, but I did throw my hands up in the air, and I didn't know what to do with myself, because I have known that there is a Captain Marvel movie coming since 2014.
And here we are.
And I had to wait 5 years, and it got pushed back because they got the rights to Spider-Man back.
Yes.
So seeing the pager show up with Carol's Hela Star logo was just like, oh damn, this is
shit's
about
happening.
to go down.
Yeah. So I'm going to add one quick little thing on that. So I was emotional and on the floor and just like, I can't believe what the hell I just watched. And then, of course, Nick Fury's making me laugh because he almost said his iconic Samuel L. Jackson line of mother. And when I saw the Captain Marvel symbol, the first thing I did after the credits started rolling after that, I ran over to my friend, Brian, who also is a Captain Marvel fan. I said, dude, and he's like, I know.
Yeah.
Because he's told me a little bit about Carol before that point, and I was vaguely interested enough to be like, yeah, no, I'm excited to see what they do with her. but I didn't know enough. And after seeing that, I'm like, okay, he's probably losing his freaking mind right now, as we all are. But so all right, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I really like it.
It was really good.
It's really good.
More Luis is amazing.
Yeah,
Always more Luis.
It's funny because it's good. I enjoy it, but the Ant-Man movies are not my favorite.
They're good comic relief.
And it was really nice to get a lighthearted movie after
Yes.
the really heavy end of Infinity War.
Oh, yes. And it was a nice tie-in, especially at the end with him in the quantum realm and everybody else
Yes.
disappearing.
Yeah.
Because it means that, okay, this is going to be important later.
Right.
Especially for Endgame.
Right.
So.
Yep. And then Captain Marvel was the last one.
Yay!
And we just talked about that a few weeks ago because the movie's not even 2 months old yet.
Not even, no.
So go back and listen to all of our old episodes.
Yes, we still love it. It's still doing very well. I guess there's still technically 2 movies left on here: Avengers Endgame and Spider-Man Far From Home.
Right. So I have been trying to avoid Endgame stuff as much as possible, even the trailers. I've seen them because they show before other movies, but
I will tell you right now, this entire episode we've been saying a lot of different things from all the different Marvel movies.
You've been doing a really good job of not...
I am literally killing myself on the inside because there are things we've been saying that I'm like, I wish I could tell you.
Well, thank you for not, and I'm sure the audience feels the same way, although probably most of them will have seen the movie by the time they hear this episode.
And if you guys haven't seen the movie, I highly recommend it. It is... So before I saw Endgame, I would say probably my favorite Avengers movie, but my favorite Marvel MCU film was probably one of the Cap films, like one of the Captain America ones.
Okay. Is it definitely Endgame now?
Endgame is probably my favorite. Like,
Okay.
I love Captain Marvel. Like, Captain Marvel took the mantle there for a while.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, though, she took it as my favorite Marvel character now.
Okay.
Endgame took it as my favorite movie.
Okay.
Because they did things in this film I didn't believe were possible. They made things happen that comic book fans everywhere are going to literally be peeing themselves watching.
Well, especially with the 3.5-hour runtime.
There's also that, which was a complete breeze, by the way. Like, the movie ended, I was like, what time is it? 10 o'clock? Oh, what the hell? It's 3 hours?
Was there something after the credits?
No.
There was not.
I will confirm right now there was no end credit scene. However, I will recommend you stay through the credits because there is...
Is there like a mid-credit scene?
There's no mid-credit scene, but there's some artwork that they do with the credits that's just really pretty that you want to see.
Okay.
So I will
That's
say
cool.
that.
Okay.
I will say there's some pretty artwork.
Okay.
You want to watch it, but there is no end credit scene. There's not even like a little, these characters will return note or won't return note. It literally just
It's the end.
ends.
Okay.
So...
Cool.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man Far From Home comes out this summer, and there's not much to say because we've only seen the one trailer.
Yeah, no,
but,
I'm excited for that
I
too.
am so effing excited for Mysterio in a movie. You don't even, and I know you heard me go on this rant off the air the other day. You do not, I have been saying since Spider-Man 2 that I want Mysterio in a Spider-Man movie because his whole thing is he's a guy that used to work on movies and make special effects, and so you can't trust anything about him ever.
Yeah.
And I don't even trust the things we've seen in the credits. I don't even trust that Jake Gyllenhaal is playing Mysterio. I don't even trust that this movie exists because last time I checked, Spider-Man was dead. So...
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, even though it's killing me. So what I will say is this, though. I'm excited for Spider-Man Far From Home. It looks really, really good. Also, if you guys feel like I had just, oh, no, you spoiled the fact that there's no end credit scene. Like, no, I didn't spoil it. I more saved you the opportunity to go, okay, check out the cool artwork and then go pee.
Yeah, for sure.
I more saved your bladder is what I did there.
All right, guys, cool. Well, we're out of time.
We are?
So,
Okay.
we might have even gone a little over.
Well.
Please hit us up on social media, Atomic Monsoon, everywhere except on Instagram where it's atomic_monsoon.
Yep. Redbubble, YouTube now. We're all on YouTube.
Yes, I put all of our episodes on YouTube except for this one. Will be up later. Hey, check out our friends at Def M Records for our excellent intro music.
Yep. And guys, we want to know who is your favorite Marvel character and what's your favorite Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Like we want to know. Like,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it next time.
Yes,
maybe.
let us know, and hopefully Josh will be feeling better next week.
Yep.
And we'll get him back, and we can all talk about your favorite stuff.
Yeah. So hope you guys have a great last weekend of April.
Yes.
And the next time we'll see you guys will be the day before May the 4th.
It's clobbering time.
Avengers Assemble.